It's All Saints Sunday, and every year at this time, my mind wanders to the saints that I have met here in this church and what I remember about each of them. All the recent vitriol around our mayoral campaign put me in mind of John Mills, a tall octogenarian I met when I first got here. John was an unabashed radical, a self-described card-carrying Christian socialist who knew politics and knew his Bible. Raising money recently for the capital campaign makes me think of St. Sylvia Barker. When Ken and I went to see her 20 years ago about a capital campaign we were doing back then, Sylvia looked at us and she said, "I could save us all time. I already know what I'm going to give you." And then she doubled it. And when she passed on, she left the bulk of her estate to our endowment fund, which she had helped to create. Dealing with our bishop about my other church responsibility, the Church of the Village, reminds me of the time a ways back when the bishop came here for an open meeting to get to know everybody and got hit instantly with challenging demands about changing our denomination's backward policy on LGBTQIA rights. Growing quickly weary of that, he called on Ressie Mae Bass. Oh yeah, an older woman of color. I am sure he thought Ressie would go easy on him. And she did not. I could go on, but in a few minutes we're going to pause for some time to allow us each to call out the names of loved ones whose faithfulness and love helped us become what we're becoming. And later there'll be an opportunity during communion to light a candle in memory of each of our beloveds. These, to me, are the saints. These are those who spend each day trying to do better than the day before, who perhaps took seriously what John Wesley referred to as sanctification, literally becoming saints in the making. And in the memory of all of these beloveds, each of us is called to go on towards perfection. We're never going to get there, but just being a better person today than we were yesterday. To be a saint for somebody who may be looking up to us as they figure out how to live their lives. Today, we have been privileged to play a modest role in the life of a small saint in the making. Most of us don't know Arden well yet, but we've declared our love for them anyway. Arden currently lives far away, but we have made promises to them that we will try in whatever way we can to keep. I know. But we've done something else, something even more important. We have declared our conviction that God's love and grace are already hard at work in Arden's young life. And that love and grace, when lived out, is what, in my mind, makes a saint. Arden's middle name, Fiadh, has got me thinking. My Irish linguistic knowledge is very limited, but one meaning of Fiadh that I like is wild one. That speaks to me of somebody who's got to live wildly, love wildly, who may not let themselves be bound by restrictive social norms that get in the way of freedom and healing and love and compassion. Fiadh speaks to me of a love-born resistance. It speaks to me of a love of growing things and gardens. As Thoreau reminded us centuries back, in wildness is the preservation of the world. Arden, oh, he looked at me. Arden, 5 years ago, your parent, Carter, preached a sermon to us in the middle of the COVID pandemic, taking on the voice, do you remember this? Taking on the voice of the prophet Moses, he preached about how we live our lives in the middle of the wilderness, in the middle of wildness. The wilderness is where we make God known to each other, where we pass on the message of radical love and compassion to the coming generation, teaching us that although we are impatient for justice and mercy to become the way of the world, God's timeline is way longer than ours. Which is why it matters to love and to work with each generation as it comes along. Which is why the work with young people that Carter did while here, and that Andrea and Sally and so many others continue to do with our young people, why that matters so much. Carter spoke to us in that long ago sermon saying to each one of us, I remember, God keeps tagging people to keep God's work going. God has tagged you, and there will be another generation after you. How will you prepare their way? Arden, I don't know that Carter saw you or envisioned you or imagined you those 5 long years ago. Maybe. Maybe. But friends, here's the thing. We might not see immediate results with anything that we're trying to do, with anything we are yearning to do, to have happen, to make happen. At best, we are planting some seeds. But seeds sprout and grow and produce and feed people. Seeds embody hope. Hope that is itself an act of resistance. Fortunately for us, we have a guide today out of Luke's Gospel that Carol read for us. We call this passage the Sermon on the Plain, because Jesus is not climbing some mountain to get away from people. He does that sometimes. But because Jesus is moving down off the mountain to where people are. The Beatitudes that Luke quotes here are mixed blessings, for sure. Mixed because they speak both blessing and curse, but mixed also because each situation of suffering is mixed with hope and with promise. Poverty is no blessing. Hunger is no blessing. Loss of a loved one is no blessing, and hatred is certainly no blessing. But in the middle of each of these situations is God's promise that the way things are will not stay the way they are. Jesus' phrase, "Blessed are you who are hungry now," sounds particularly jarring as SNAP benefits are interrupted for millions of people who rely on food stamps in order to feed their kids. But that hunger in Scripture is paired with a promise. You will be filled. And there's a challenge implied in that promise that if we are not hungry, we'd better be doing something to fill those who are. Not in charity, but as acts of resistance to callousness. As saints in the making, that's what we do. That's what we do. The words, "Blessed are you who weep now," may sound jarring on a day when we remember all these people that we have lost. One thing about being at this church so long is that I've been with so many people as they reach the end of their lives. Many times sitting right beside them. Sitting helplessly beside them. And at that moment, all the weeping and the anguish and the helplessness does not feel like a blessing. But even that grief is paired with a blessing and memories that now can make me sigh and smile and even laugh. Laugh with deep gratitude. And then Jesus offers these strange words. Blessed are you when people hate you. Really, Jesus? You think so? I spent a little while yesterday canvassing for one of our mayoral candidates. And along with all the encouraging and appreciative words I heard directed my way, there was quite a bit of nastiness and vitriol. And I really did not feel blessed by that. But the blessing is not the poverty, and it's not in the hunger, and it's not in the weeping, and it's not in the hatred. The blessing is in the fact that our compassionate God will not let poverty or hunger or weeping or hatred be the end result of anything. And the message of All Saints' Day is that throughout time and in our time, God raises up those who will work and raise our voices to see that poverty and hunger and weeping and hatred will not be the end result of anything. I've mentioned just a few of the saints that I've been privileged to have in my life. And I know you have so many who have lived and worked to help you become who you're becoming. And so I want to take a few moments to honor those people and honor those memories. And so please feel very free to call out the names of those sainted souls we honor today, those we miss and continue to love. God, you have heard all of these and each of these names, each one as beloved to you as they were and are to us. Hold them in your love and compassion. Arden Fiadh Lee Baxter, you will not remember this day in any tangible way. I know that. I'm so sad about that. But our prayer for you is that you will always know and feel that you are surrounded by essential saints. All of our essential saints, a great cloud of witnesses whose love for you will help make you the saint in the making that you are becoming. Thanks be to God.